Hello folks, my name is Mark and this is UCD Toy Reviews. How you guys doing? And today we're taking a look at the Mother Longlegs figure from Kong Skull Island. So I've actually had this for a couple of years, and as you can see I've opened it up years ago. I opened it up. I think I got this even before I started doing toy reviews. And I took out the spider and I'm not really that happy with it. It's not really the best rendition of the toy here. So before we move on, so this came out when Kong Skull Island came out a few years ago, and although I really like that movie a lot, the toys that came out were left a lot to be desired, to say it for sure. You know, the rendition of the skull crawler that they had was very lackluster. I should have done a video on that too, but I actually did show it in my review of the Godzilla vs. Kong Skullcrawler, so if you want to check that out. But it was very, not very good, it didn't have any articulation, only its jaw moved, and then, the actual Kong figure, the only one they made for this movie was a 10-inch, actually I think it was bigger, I think it was like a 15-inch sort of huge Kong thing, and wasn't very good. So I think they really missed the opportunity. But I did think this one looked pretty cool, I did like the sculpt of it, but the actual execution of this figure, not so good. So, if you remember, the Mother Longlegs is the part in Skull Island where they're in that bamboo forest, and then one of the trees, its legs pop up, right? And it's actually this huge-ass spider, right? I thought that was really cool. So, anyway, the name of this set is the Battle for Survival Creature Contact from Kong Skull Island. And it came with this figure of the Mother Longlegs. So, the actual sculpt, I thought, was actually pretty good, but the execution leaves a lot to be desired, right? So, if you check that out, this sculpt here, that's actually kind of cool. I like these little grasping legs. There's lots of nice detail in it for, for a kid's toy, basically. These were made for kids, not for adult collectors, My main problem with it is that the legs are kind of crappy. It can't stand up on its own, right? Because these legs, although they move like this, right, they don't, bend. They're sort of slightly bendy, right? But they don't stay. It's just plastic. So you would think that they would have made these bendy legs, or they would have put articulation in them, or something like that, or they would have made a wire on the inside so that when you bent it they stayed. They don't stay, so they just so it looks like this. So you see how they're all just sort of hanging like that, and you can't really get it to stand up in any particular way. They all sort of jumble together, and you try to get it to stand, and it's it won't stand up. And that's really, the best you can get is something like that. Let me just sort of move the camera down a little bit so you can see that. And yeah, it just doesn't look good, unfortunately. So that was kind of, they don't, at least you would think if you have your spider toy that it should be able to at least sort of stand up on its legs. It's it can't stand up on its legs, which is really, really a missed opportunity in my opinion, which is really sad. But if you want to take a look, let's take a look at the rest of the figure. I didn't even take the rest of it out of the box, as you can see. So here's, you got Kong there on the bottom, and then it comes with this sort of Jeep, and then this sort of G.I. Joe looking dude on the inside. Whole bunch of weapons and stuff, guns and shotguns and knives and things, and even though they didn't really have any Jeeps in the movie, includes articulated spider, And I think that was sort of the big, misfire of this particular toy line, is that it didn't really concentrate on the monsters. It concentrated on these sort of G.I. Joe dudes, which, I think what they are, they're actually reissues of Lanard sort of corpse figures, but with different heads and stuff. I know there's one, the one that came with the skull crawler looks like Samuel L. Jackson. But I think the rest of these are they're just sort of reissues of toys they already had, and it really is kind of bad. But anyway, you can take a look at the side of the box, and we can take a look at the back. Got some good artwork back here. of Kong fighting one of the skull crawlers. Unfortunately, the toys aren't even close. And here was another set. So then you had this sort of boat helicopter set. This was the set with the skull crawler. You can see there's no articulation on the skull crawler. All it is just this jaw goes up and down. And it's like the size of a freaking human being, so it's like this tiny-ass skull crawler. And the Kong figure was like, 15 inches tall. So it's like you want to make Kong fight the skull crawler. It's not in the right scale. Here you have this totally misleading picture of the Mother Longlegs there. See how its legs are all straight and it can stand up on its own and stuff? Unfortunately, in real life, it can't do that. Then you had this sort of like Psycho Vulture thing, which I never even bothered getting. I think that had no articulation at all. It was just like a solid piece. I never even saw that one in the store, actually. So, kind of not the best. Kind of a missed opportunity here. And I see these online, this is currently selling on eBay, boxed like this, unopened for like $99. It's just totally not worth it. And I think I'm actually going to put this back into the box and sell this. Recoup some loss here. And it's too bad because I kind of like the sculpt. I like this sculpt. And if I could just get it to stand up, right, if I could get it to stand up and actually like be something that would look good in a pose it or something on the shelf, it's like I can't. It just doesn't stand up. It doesn't stand up. It's really bad. So yeah, most of the time when you buy toys like this, it's like, especially if you're an adult collector, you're buying toys to collect and display and play with when nobody's looking. Right, if you're doing that, it's like they at the very least have to look good on a shelf, and this one just kind of fails in that regard. So yeah, I could definitely say, safe to avoid this one. Don't spend the money. If you're into buying MonsterVerse stuff, Godzilla toys, Kong toys and stuff, this might be a tempting thing, because this was the only figure they ever made of this, and it's kind of too bad that it's not very good. So anyway, folks, that's all I got. Adios.